All right, combining snare drum techniques. We all know what Lord Algae does to his snare, and Andy Wallace and Mutt and other people. But when we start to combine things of our favorite producers or mixers, we start to get our own sound. So in this song, I combined a bunch of the features that a lot of these big guys use and kind of came up with my own hybrid sound. So let me play this and we'll get into, I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 snares to make this snare drum sound. So let me play it for you and we'll break it down. Okay, great track. I'm triggering snares from the drummer Greg Morrow. Great player, great guy. And this is a real, kind of a country pop track, a little more 90s, which is awesome. That's the country period that I was playing drums in most of the time with Blackhawk. But let's go first to some Lord Algae techniques. Now, the first snare, the snare on the tracking session is this. So we've got our high end cranked up here. Chris would probably do it more like that. So let's do that. We've got a gate. And next, I've just bumped up a little of this frequency. Give it a little more honk, and then obviously the last thing Chris would do would be to compress it. So that's our main snare drum, which is very typical of something that he would do. We've got more high-end cranked here. Now, what Chris does for the bottom snare is he sends the bottom snare to his Sony DRE 2000, I think it is, reverb. So here's the bottom snare. Severely gated. And then we just send that, not the top snare, Mike, not this one. We just send the bottom snare to the Lord Algae reverb, which is represented here in this. It says bright CLA snare reverb D. That's the DRE 2000. That's what they modeled this reverb after. And then typically what Chris would do would be add a sample, which in this one was this. But in this case, I did a little bit of a Nashville thing. I gated it. And then I used this model of DBS 160X. I showed it last week. It said 2025 free plugin of the year. There's a link for this plugin free below that video. It's got like a trophy on it or whatever. But this is a very typical Nashville thing to do, is just crush this front end. Now, had I not gated that, it would have crushed that room too, which may be okay. Let's leave the gate on for now. So really, these three together are my Lord Algae technique. So let me just leave that gate off so we've got that room opening up smashed by this 160X as well. Now, let's go to the Andy Wallace tricks. This channel is white noise only. So if I go to this channel on my mixer, you see that it has no bus. So let me put it out the stereo bus for a second, and you can hear what this is. That's just a little blip of white noise. And I've got that white noise going into this reverb. Typical of what Andy would do. Now, back then, they would mult off the snare and they would gate this noise. But now because we have, so this noise would happen every time the snare hit. But now we have MIDI, and it's much easier to just put this white noise into a sampler and trigger it from the snare. And this is off of my new plug-in pack, which there'll be a link below. It's and I'm not pushing my noise packs, my plug-in packs. It's just I really do use it. So there's the white noise. Now the trick to this is I'm going to go back to this channel on my mixer, and I'm going to assign it to nothing. So the only thing that will come out of this channel is the send to the reverb. And that's how Andy used the white noise trick. So he would also just use a sample of the room. Now, back in the day, I don't know how they did. I think he had like room samples on a DAT, and they put it in this kind of sampler or something. But here we have the Dramatica, the snare. And as you can see, I've turned down all of the close mics, and the only thing that we're hearing is the room ambience and this 480. So it's just the room. There's no snare close mic, no snare bottom mic, just an ambient room. Often what Andy would do to mix in with a live sample. Now, a couple more things that I added myself is Mutt would always somehow get a lower snare tucked in there to give it more punch in the chest instead of just a punch in the face. So here is a snare that's a lower snare. When I say that, I mean tuned lower. So we have that frequency covered. And then another one that I always put in, this is off of my Stack Shots Sample Pack 2, link below. I'm not here to advertise it. I'm here to show you I really use it. This is an anvil. Just a very tip front transient of an anvil, which is also triggered by the snare through MIDI. So let's start off one by one, and let's put the real snare in. And I'm just going to start adding bits. So the red is the CLA stuff, the blue is Mutt, the yellow is Andy Wallace, and the last purple is one of my tricks. There you go. That completes the puzzle to all the snare drums. So we're kind of micromanaging each part of it. The throw to the reverb, the punch on and the transient, the room itself. We have all of these things that are completely separate from each other that we can control so it sounds like one snare. So all that combined, Now let me take them away one by one. And there you go. So, when you think about anything in anything that you're producing or mixing, think about combining things that you've heard or that tricks or techniques that you've heard. I mean, here we have Mutt, Andy Wallace, Lord Algae, and me. So we're kind of combining it all to make one sound that takes from all of the greatest. So that's how we kind of find our own sound. Just remember that. You don't have to just copy Serban because he's so awesome, or just CLA, or just anyone. Think about the techniques that they use, combine them, and make your own sound. Thanks so much for watching. Give me some comment, love, and a thumbs up below. And hit me at drbobmusicsurgery@gmail.com if you want to say hello or you want me to work on your music. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you the next time the doctor's in.